All right, this is the player rating for the Super Eagles match against Egypt. Before we get into this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. We start with a goalkeeper, Maduka Okoye. I'm going to give him a 7.5. Did a good job in keeping a clean sheet, first clean sheet in his first AFCON game. Congratulations to him on that. But to be honest, the defense was really the ones who did the big job. They did the lion's share of the work. Omoru and Ekong were totally awesome. And really, his clean sheet was credit to those guys, the 4 guys in front of him. So I have to give him a 7.5. Moving on, we start with the fullbacks. And I will start with Zaidu Sanusi. For him, I'm going to give a 7.5. And that's because in the second half, the substitute Ahmed Said really exposed Sanusi in that wing. Really, Simon was almost seeming like he was left by himself because Sanusi was just lost in the sauce of Ahmed Said. Apart from that, I think he was solid enough. He did what needed to be done and completed the game 90 minutes. Next up, Ola Aina, the Torino man, totally awesome in this match yesterday. Just was all over the place. He dominated on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, made a bunch of key stops. I think he was the one who made that stop on Salah, even though Salah was offside, but that was just an awesome block right there. Going forward, he was unplayable. I mean, the commentator was saying that he might be wanted by Leeds United, but as the game went on, I kept thinking to myself, why Leeds? Why not Manchester? Bigger clubs really should be looking at this man because he always puts up big performances, and this is another show of what Ola Aina has to offer. I give him an 8.5 for such an awesome performance. And moving on, I go for the captain next. Truce Ekong had a solid performance. Also, I'm going to give him an 8.5. Solid performance. At the end of the match, he took the ball from Salah like twice. He did have the couple situations where he had poor touches that he bailed himself out of, and he was the one who played Mo Salah onside, but he was the one who helped bail the Super Eagles out of that situation. The passing was great. I mean, the long distance pass he sent forward to Simon Moses, just put it right on his left foot. Beautiful pass he made. Probably the best match he's had for the Super Eagles. I believe so. Truce Ekong. And moving on, Kenneth Omoru, the man who went down late in the second half, injured. Hopefully he can come back because he had an awesome match. He was also great. The rock of Omoru was right there. No nonsense in this match. There was no chance that he was going to slip up because he looked so crispy, so professional in that match. Even saved Wilfred and Ndidi's tail when he made a poor pass back to his goal. I give him an 8.5. He didn't finish the match. He probably would have got a 9. But from what he did, you must credit the man. The man was totally awesome. Nothing Egypt did phased the Super Eagles, and that was because Truce Ekong and Kenneth Omoru were just there as solid rocks. And when you have that type of defense behind you, it's like you can do anything because you know you're safe. And yesterday was complete safety from our 2 central defenders, and that's why I give Kenneth Omoru an 8.5. Moving on, Wilfred and Ndidi. Yes, indeed, he had a good game, dominated the midfield. Him and Joe Aribo had a real good game, created chances also, shielded his defense, was everywhere on the pitch, chased down a lot of balls, won a lot of balls. I mean, the Egyptian midfield was seemingly inexistent because Wilfred Ndidi and Joe Aribo did such a great job. Yes, he did make that bad pass towards Kenneth Omoru, but at the end of the day, that was just one blip in the whole entire match. He had a good game. I give him an 8.5 for his performance. I feel like he has more in store, but this performance right here was still good enough for me, and that 8.5 for Wilfred Ndidi seems justified. And another guy who had a great performance, Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo was totally awesome in this match. 2 big chances created. One was the goal for Kelechi Iheanacho. He looked totally unfazed in the AFCON. There was the talk about how is he going to deal with the African physicality. I want to ask this question. How is the African physicality going to deal with Joe Joe Aribo, because this man looked like he was totally on another level. He looked like he was stronger than everybody. He looked like he was faster than everybody. He thought quicker than everybody. And look, man, Joe Aribo, what a match by Joe Aribo. I give him a total 9 right there because he was totally awesome. I've never been the biggest fan of Joe Aribo, but yesterday he just proved me completely wrong. He looked beautiful out there, and I just have to give him a 9. And moving on, Kelechi Senior Man Iheanacho, the goal scorer of the day, I'm going to give him an 8.5 strictly because, bro, you missed too many chances at the end. Kelechi Iheanacho for the Super Eagles, you need to focus. I need that Leicester City type Kelechi Iheanacho. He had 2 chances, the one with the bad touch, and I was like, come on, Nacho, baby. Then he had the one that Wilfred Ndidi put him on right in the box. He shoots it into the side net or somewhere away from the goal, and that was another great opportunity he missed. He did create some chances. I give him an 8.5. He could have really had a 9.5 or even a 10, but just the missed chances and the little lack of concentration during the game. But I don't take anything away from that performance. It was a great performance by Kelechi Iheanacho, and the 8.5 is well deserved. And moving on, we have Samuel Chukwueze, the Villarreal Blazer. Not the best game for Samuel Chukwueze. I'll give him a 7.5. He did do some things, but this is not Samuel Chukwueze we know from Villarreal. This is not the guy that torments the biggest clubs in the world week in, week out. I feel like he definitely has a lot to give us. I mean, this next game better be about Samuel Chukwueze because he played well, but he didn't give me what Samuel Chukwueze is about, the dazzling, the dribbling, the running at players. He didn't do that. That was more of Simon yesterday. And you know, sometimes somebody else has to step up, and that's what happened. And moving on, speaking of Simon Moses, I give Simon Moses a 9, and he really should have a 10, but his crossing, I can't even imagine. How can your crossing be as bad as your performance was good? I mean, his crossing was atrocious, but his performance was just completely beautiful, completely next level. I mean, this guy was running at players. He injured a player in like the 10-minute mark. He was all over the place. They couldn't do anything with him. For me, that performance was as close to Victor Moses as we seen since he left the Super Eagles, because Simon Moses was just the man yesterday. He couldn't do anything wrong. Even when he did things wrong, you could hear the applause from the crowd because he was always dazzling. He was always running. Simon Moses, what a big time performance for the Super Eagles. This is a guy that I myself was not sure about. I was thinking like, look, Simon, your performances have not been big time coming into this AFCON. Maybe you might have to sit on the bench and Chidera Ejuke starts. No, that was just a silly thought if you go by that match yesterday. He was totally beautiful. Oh my goodness. That 9 is well deserved. And last of the starters, Taiwo Awoniyi had a good performance. I'll give him an 8. Had 2 chances that he didn't put away, but apart from that, he was all over the place, running, won a lot of balls, 50-50s that he won against the defenders. He gave those defenders a hard time, and when he left the pitch, I'm sure they were happy to see the back of his jersey. Next up, the substitutes. First, we're going to start with Semi Ajayi, who came in for Kenneth Omoru. I give him a 7, a solid 7. I mean, he saw out the clean sheet for the team. He was part of keeping the clean sheet. You can see his height being used on set pieces. You see what he brings to the table on that department. And I just feel like he did a good enough job, and the 7 is well worth it. Kelechi Iheanacho, I give him a 6. Really didn't do much. Got his first cap for the national team. Really didn't do much. I saw him playing a little closer to the striker. I would really want him being paired in that double pivot, probably with Ndidi or Aribo. But when he came in, the Super Eagles were just trying to see out the match. I mean, I don't really feel they were trying to see out the match necessarily, but he wasn't involved that much, and I give him a 6 for that. And next up, I go with Chidera Ejuke. Chidera Ejuke had a bunch of chances in the game. I give him a 6.5, you know, E for effort. But at the end of the day, he has to really improve on his decision making when he gets into the final third. Next is Sadiq Umar. Sadiq Umar came in for Taiwo Awoniyi. It was a like for like replacement, and he did a good job. I give him a 7. Held up, played really nicely. I mean, was winning every aerial ball just about. He had the nice turn and pass that found Chidera, and Chidera really should have returned the ball to Sadiq, but he didn't, and that chance went away. But at the end of the day, I give Sadiq Umar a 7. I feel he had a good performance, and he kind of makes it a little hard for Augustine Eguavoen, even though I feel Taiwo Awoniyi did a good job. But when Sadiq Umar came into the game, he kind of made you feel like, okay, he could do something a little bit different. But I just feel at the end of the day, if we don't have that good service, it doesn't matter who we put at that striker position, because the service yesterday was not good enough for a striker to be expecting to score goals. I mean, you had Taiwo Awoniyi who had those 2 opportunities, but 2 is not enough for a striker. I want my striker to at least have 5 good opportunities and see what he can do with that. Especially in this type of match, in a match that the Super Eagles dominated, I would have expected that the strikers would have gotten more shots on goal, but that's not what happened yesterday. Next up is Alex Iwobi. Came in as the last substitution of the day, came in past the 90-minute mark, but I'm going to give him a 6.5 because he came in and went right to work. He was helping the team defend. He did not put his head down. He did not sulk. He did not pout, and I got to respect that from Alex Iwobi. This is a guy that was normally the starter for the national team, but he gets this situation, and he still tries to make the best out of it. Even when Kelechi Iheanacho scored his goal, Alex Iwobi was probably the biggest cheerleader on the sideline. And if all our players have this type of mentality, we'll go far in this competition. And moving on, last but not least, the coach, Augustine Eguavoen. First match back with the national team. I rate him a 9 for his performance, starting from the lineup he put on the pitch to start the game. I mean, you could tell that he put some thought into that decision, and none of the players really let him down. Even the defense, that was really the question maker right before the game, Ekong Omweru, and they both looked indestructible. We have seen the interviews where he spoke glowingly of Chidera Ejuke, and he spoke glowingly of Kelechi Iheanacho, but in the starting lineup, he stuck with the team that was already there, the players that were already performing. He didn't come in and try to do his own thing. He actually listened to his fellow coaches. He actually went with what was going on already in the team. He actually did not come in to try to destroy what Gennaro had done. He just came in, just made his tweaks, and you know, he did his thing. And I really appreciate his performance yesterday. And I tell you who else should appreciate that performance: every single Nigerian coach, because he made Nigerian coaches look very good on that stage yesterday. His team was great. His substitutions were great. You could tell that, yes, okay, I'm gonna go with what my fellow coaches say, but I still have my own convictions. I still feel Chidera Ejuke is a player for me. I still feel Kelechi Iheanacho is a player that can add to the team, and he brought him into the game. Now, I'm not saying that we should give Augustine Eguavoen a 10-year contract or anything like that, but I feel that performance was real good. Sure, we have not seen him with his back against the ropes. We've not seen him when he needs to make those tactical changes. We've not seen any of that. But for right now, yesterday's performance, I believe, was awesome and almost perfect. Those are the player/coach ratings for the Super Eagles match against Egypt. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.